Welcome to our course of MySQL. So this is the starting and learning MySQL brief about SQL. So let's start off by knowing the brief of what MySQL is and also all about it. So first off, when we are trying to know about what MySQL is and how to work with it, you have to know the basics. So let's start off with database, because this is all about database and working online, are all of the things or content which are put online to structure a web structure and also a web page. So about the database, any collection of related information such as phone book, shop list, to-do list, 5 best friends on, like, let's say Facebook user, bias structure, and all of those. Then we are going to learn about the database, how they can be stored. There are different ways. There is paper method, computer method, PowerPoint method, and also comments box method. So sometimes you see that in different medias, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of those have comment section. In those dedicated slots, you can put in your idea and also store them for later purpose so that you can get those ideas. Then let's learn about database management system, which is also called DBMS. A special software program that is going to help users to create and maintain a database. Because if you don't have a perfect structure and also maintenance, it's not going to work, and it will be very hard for a user to get those information when they need it. So what happens when you use DBMS is that easy to manage large amount of information all at the same time. It also gives you security management. Then it also gives you backup, importing and exporting data, concurrency, and interacts with software application. Because obviously when you are using database or DBMS all at the same time, obviously you will need a software or some help to manage all of those data at the same time. So obviously while using DBMS and also MySQL, it's going to help a lot to interact with software application and also for maintaining a large amount of data. Then let's learn about programming language and also CRUD. So CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. Well, this is the motivation. So if a person or a user follows these, well, one is very much like close to finding success in DBMS and also MySQL. There are 2 types of databases. One is relational database, and second is non-relational or NoSQL or not just SQL, which is just no. So in the relational database, or which is SQL, it organizes data into one or more tables, because obviously if you're managing data, you might need a table, and a table is going to help a user to maintain all the data and see it whenever they want to, and it is easier to find. So each table has columns and rows just like you see in Microsoft Excel, and a unique key identifies each row, and all of those rows and also columns have identified unique key. Then in non-relational or NoSQL or not just SQL, organized data is anything but a traditional table, just like the main one you see in Microsoft Excel, which is traditional table. Then it has key value stores, which are, let's say, A1, A2, B1, B2, and all of those. Then we have is documents, but here it's a bit different. The documents are saved in JSON and XML file. So these are also a type of extensions which you will see later on in this course. Then it's going to be graphs. Graph is also another effective method of storing your data and seeing it and also visualizing it and observe it. Then we have is the flexible tables, which is that you can edit it and also position it and customize it just the way you want it. That is the flexible table. Now let's know about relational databases and how those actually look like. So here we have 2 tables. One is student table and one is users table. Both of them are correlated. Let's start off with the first one. We have is ID, name, major, username, password, email, which is kind of the basics of a table. Here you have, according to each of those requirements such as ID, name, major, we have it fulfilled. Let's say 1. Then we have is Tim. His major is chronology. Then username Timothy, and then password is WordPass, and email, which I didn't give. Okay, so this is the kind of table which you can use, such as relational databases, and how these are example. Then let's know about what relational database is more briefly. First off, Relational Database Management System, which is also known as RDBMS, helps user create and maintain a relational database. In this, you will find out MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, and MariaDB, which I showed you in the previous course of PHP. Then MariaDB and also MySQL is also connected to PHP. Okay, so here we are going to directly work through those. Then we know about structured query language, which is SQL. So that is what MySQL stands for. So here, standards are like standardized language for interacting with RDBMS, which is Relational Database Management System. Then it is used to perform CRUD, which is create, read, update, and delete. Then we have its operations as well as other administrative tasks, which is going to be helped with relational database, which is the user's management and system and security, backup, and all of those, which is used to define tables and structure. So relational database and also structured query language helps you in a lot of ways. Then SQL code used on one RDBMS is not always portable to another without modification. So without modification, you might not be able to open it up. Then let's learn about non-relational database, which is NoSQL, not just SQL, which is just no. So non-relational database management system helps user create and maintain a non-relational database. And the softwares or the services which you can use for this non-relational databases are MongoDB, DynamoDB, and Apache Cassandra. And also we have Fireball. Well, there are a lot of these, but you can use these couple of softwares or services to run your non-relational database. Then implementation specifics. Any non-relational database falls under this category. So there's no set language standards, such as we learned on this, which is structured query language. We don't need that in non-relational database. Any non-relational database falls under this category, just like I told you. So most NRDBMS will implement their own language for performing CRUD and administrative operations on the database. Then non-relational databases, not just SQL, which is kind of the same thing. Then the last thing we have to know about is going to be our database queries. Queries are requested or requests made to the database management system for specific information. Well, this is kind of like a user asking for service, and those are the queries. As the database's structure become more and more complex, it becomes more difficult to get the specific pieces of information we want, because MySQL and all of this coding like PHP and the server information and the database is kind of very complex, because if you are not case sensitive, obviously it's not going to work, and sometimes it doesn't even give you the exact result until it is like totally perfect. So you have to like be very cautious when you are working with this database queries. A Google search is also a query. So just like I told you, it is also like asking for a service. Let's say a user is wanting for service or needs to know about something. Obviously, the service given to that person or the administration or the admins that are giving that service is kind of called the database queries and also the service. Then let's wrap it up the whole thing and give you the gist of what we have to know about the database before starting MySQL. Database is any collection of related information. Let's say you are asking for some service from a hospital or need to know about anything of it. So asking the service and then getting the result is kind of the database and also the collective information which you got. Then computer are great for storing databases, which we know, which is like very basic. Database Management System, DBMS, makes it easy to create, arrange, and secure a database. DBMS will help you to perform the CRUD operations and also the administrative tasks, just like we know are known just a while ago. Then the two types of databases, which are relational and non-relational. Thus you get more services from different type of service and also softwares. Then relational database use SQL and store database in tables with rows and columns with assigned keys. The non-relational database store data using other data structure. So now you know all about DBMS and also all the functions and all of the briefs you need to know about databases before starting MySQL. So without any further ado, let's just jump into our first lesson of starting with MySQL.